So now we are going to start writing some Python programs, very simple programs. And first I would like to use the online Python editor for simple operations. So if you haven't installed any Python editor, then you can just go to this website, py3.codesculptor.org. Okay, so if you go to this website, there's an online Python editor and we can run our code in this online version. So we can start, of course, by typing our hello world, just like in any other programming language. And you can click on this run button here, and that displays the output. And in Python, we can also use this single quotation. It will do the same job. We can see hello world. And if you want to leave some space, you can do /n. So that's for the new line, right? So if you put it like this, it's gonna, okay, /n. So it's gonna skip and start a new line after the end of this hello world, okay? So basically this is how we can print something on the screen, but you can also, of course, print, well, let's assign some variables. So if I assign this hello world here, let's say hello world, I assign this to x, and if I want to know the type of a variable, I can use this type function, which is a built-in function in Python, type of x. So it's going to display what's the type of this variable x, because we assigned something to this variable x, and we want to know what type is it. And you can see here it's a class string, so it's the type of this variable is a string. It's a sequence of characters, okay? And similarly, if you assign, let's say, an integer to x, and if you print what's the type of this x, then no surprise, we see the int, which is for integer. And notice that if you want to declare this 4 as a let's say, decimal point number, then you better use this 0.0. And again, you can print the type of x, and this time you can see it's a float, okay? And basically we can work with, we will be working with many different variables, and but one thing we can quickly do is also use Python just like as a calculator, so we can learn a little bit about the operations, the mathematical operations. And the basic operations like summation, so if you are summing two numbers, you use the plus. If you are subtracting two numbers, let's say, you use the minus. And you can multiply two numbers with this multiplication symbol. And let's say if I want to divide two numbers, let's say 6, and we can take the power, right? So let's say w equals 3 to the power, let's say 4. So we can print these now on the screen to see the values q and w. So I want to print just all these, and you can see we have the summation, which is 9. We have the subtraction that gives us equals to 3. We have the division, so you can see 10 divided by 6. So since this result is basically a decimal point number, so obviously q, the type of q, is also going to be a float, right? And if you like, you can print the type of x, type of y, z, okay, so it's a bit cumbersome, but we can see the type of each of these variables here. And you can notice that this time, since the result is 1.666, it automatically assigned a float variable. But if you want to assign the result as a float in all these cases, then there's a simple way to do that. So you can use the float command, and the results of all these numbers will be considered as a float, which is a decimal point number instead of an integer. Okay, so it's important to keep in mind if you want to keep working with the floats, but this is already a float. And let's try this one. So we can see that these are also now considered as float variables because we use this built-in function float. Okay, so this is the very simple beginning, and we just showed a few different useful operations, and we will continue.